Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 279 of the Drunk Dashers podcast. I'm your host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Tyler, I am doing better this week. Well, at least better to end off this week, since I spent most of it sick as a dog, all starting on 4th of July. You know, the funny thing about working a little bit extra for like a time and a half at the workplace, there's that little off chance that you might get food poisoning by whatever some people bring in. So that's what the Colonel Gables pretty much suffered from for the next few days afterwards. And it wasn't until today that I actually feel like I am getting close to my old self.
That's good.
Oh boy. Man, it was just an experience in and of itself. It's like, I had a little bit of a food platter and stuff, then I ate some of my regular food and stuff. As a matter of fact, I didn't even eat on my lunch that day, because it's like, an hour after I had ate some of that food, I started to get sick. I actually manned it through the rest of the work day. Even though I was literally like a few inches like, okay, am I gonna vomit? Am I gonna vomit? Nope, not gonna happen. Not at work. So it's like I spent the latter part of that night I kind of credited, it's like when you fire a shotgun or something like that in the game, and it's like, it's supposed to be like big, impactful and stuff like that. Yeah, that was pretty much myself vomiting inside of a damn toilet. Oh. Dude, it was horrible.
It's got a huge splatter distance.
Oh, it was so fucking painful. I'm like, I'm the type of person who's like, if I get sick and stuff, I don't generally throw up. That's the thing. And now I remember why I don't throw up.
Yeah, it's not fun.
But, anyways, yeah, at least today I was able to get outside and actually walk a fair amount of distance and stuff. But, it's just a little bit of baby steps. It's like, yeah, I was mostly sick and in bed and stuff for that later part of the 4th of July, and then the day after, then I managed to at least walk around on on Friday a little bit, even though it's like, oh, okay, it's like now it's starting to flush its way out of the system. It's like, oh no. It's like, it's like the type of feeling or something when you're walking in an establishment or something like that, and you get a really bad case of gas or something like that, and it's like, oh god, it's like, I hope nobody heard that.
Yeah, I love. I don't go to Walmart anymore, but when I did, crop dusting an aisle in Walmart was amazing. Brought me very much joy in this life.
Well, you know it's bad or something like that. It was like you're walking with your mom or something like that down an aisle, all of a sudden you just hear this big like, what the fuck was that? And of course she looks back, it's like, what the hell was that? I was like, I don't know, it must be some bats. Anyway. Yeah, I feel healthier. I have played some bit of games too, but other than that, though, I am feeling a lot better. So, Tyler, how about you?
Doing all right. It's kind of, everybody at work was happy on Tuesday because we had Wednesday off, and it's like, hey, everybody's going around on Tuesday, Happy Friday, and it was all great and everything, and then Wednesday came, and it's like, oh man, this kind of sucks. It's like a second Wednesday or a second Sunday. This isn't fun at all.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm fairly depressed on Sundays because I gotta go back to work the next day. And then Thursday was like a second Monday, which was terrible. But it was Friday was barely you could barely enjoy Friday because you were so scarred by the second Monday. It was not worth it. Not worth it. 2 Fridays in 1 week is not worth 2 Mondays and 2 Sundays in a week. It doesn't equal out. So yeah. Other than that, I had all my family is in Wisconsin for this week, so I've had the place to myself all week, which is kind of nice. You don't have to wear pants. It's pretty great. You can listen to music as loudly as you want. Louis, he's kind of bummed because he doesn't have Gunner to play with, but he's fine. Right now, if you guys might hear that, and I apologize, but there's a bunch of assholes shooting off fireworks all around the block right now. So you might hear that in the audio, and it's scarring Louis right now. So Louis is deathly afraid of fireworks. He does not like them, so he is huddled against me, hiding on my leg right now. He's not a big fan. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Cool thing. We got our thing for redemption codes for our Extra Life shirts. People that raise over $200 for Extra Life.
Awesome.
So we got those. So those should be coming. I should be getting that later this month. So that's pretty awesome. Nice little positive this week. But other than that, doing okay. I picked up a couple games this week. Picked up. So I actually with my Best Buy bucks, with I spend money on my Best Buy credit card to get points, and I get Best Buy bucks with those points. And I had enough to buy a bunch of PlayStation cards and Nintendo eShop cards.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and bought Life is Strange 2. Just bought the pre-order the whole season.
There you go.
I picked up Celeste.
There you go.
And Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. That's going to be a good one.
yeah, so I haven't played him yet. I literally just got him this morning. And I've been out and about all day. I actually hung out with Justin for a good chunk of today. I went out and played some frisbee golf this afternoon, and then went over to his brother's older brother and boyfriend's house, and I had some. They grilled some food. We hung out there, checked out their new house. So that was pretty fun. A little sunburnt. Wow, there's a lot of fireworks going on right now. So yeah, it's been a fun week. Well, it's been a miserable week having the 2 Mondays, but some fun things happening. Other than Wednesday night when the entire family wanted to do fireworks, and I'm the only one that has to work on Thursday, and they're all leaving in the morning. They're all leaving to go to Wisconsin the next day. And he'd be up at 4:30 in the morning, and you're out doing fireworks still after 11 o'clock at night. That wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It sounded like a fucking war zone in your block.
I know, it's always a big old pain in the ass. I mean, that happened too, Here I am, it's like I go to bed around 6, and then it's like fireworks are going off. It's like you just hear the parents kind of yelling or something like that. Hey, turn on the TV, look at some of the fireworks on the Space Needle. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like you can fall back to sleep. A couple hours later, you hear some jackass outside with some M80s, like, ba-bow, ba-bow, ba-bow.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to kill you when you're asleep if you do one more.
It's like I feel like an old man, but it's like it's a fucking work night, people. Come on, fuck you. God, if it's on if it's on a Friday, Saturday, whatever, that's fine. But fuck you.
It almost makes you want to attempt to just bring a little alarm or something like that, a little bullhorn or something like that, go up to their property, then right at the front door just go like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, wake up a little extra early for work in the morning and drive around the block laying on the horn the entire way. Maybe that's kind of that's actually I should do that next year.
Like a little fucking pump in circumstance or some shit.
Yeah. Fucking assholes. Goddamn, get off my lawn. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with me this week. But I guess we could jump into what we've been playing. Gables, you said you've been playing a few games this week. Why don't you tell me about them?
All right, so to continue on from last week, I finished up South Park: The Stick of Truth. I must admit, oh man, that game was very enjoyable from beginning to end. I know I kind of spoiled myself to begin with, because a few years ago I did watch an entire playthrough of South Park: The Stick of Truth, but I gotta admit, even a couple of years later, picking up the game again, playing through the entirety of it this time, I had forgotten about a specific part inside that game that literally had me on the floor laughing. And that was when you're inside the clinic, and Randy is dressed as a woman, and all of a sudden the government agents pop in the door and stuff, and he's all propped up and stuff like that, and they pretty much is like, oh, you're not a real doctor, here, perform that operation on her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like there's Christmas music that keeps playing while you're doing it. And all of a sudden it's like you're just doing a little bit of the routine like that fake surgery or something on him, and all of a sudden it's like you do one run, it's like he just screams like, oh my balls.
Yeah. You had to give Randy an abortion.
No, the funniest part about that was not just that, but me actually messing up that sequence 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah, you suck up his balls or whatever.
And you just see some of the blood or something over there, and he's all passed down and shit. And it's like, what the?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Oh man, it's like I'm laughing so hard still from that moment, but it's like it was so dumb. But at the same point, it was pretty awesome. Because there's a little moment that kind of resurfaces again where you go, you have to do that operation, that robot, and the same music plays. Like, are you serious? Man, it's like moment after moment of, the absurdity reaching new heights inside South Park: The Stick of Truth. And what's kind of funny is towards the beginning of the game, you're kind of like you're kind of poked fun at by like some of the passersby. It's like, oh, your nose doesn't look that great. This and that, and this and that. So of course, I went ahead and I ran into that Tom's rhinoplasty thing, and I check the back wall, and there's all sorts of like David Hasselhoff pictures. And so I go up to the. It's not just like subtle either. There's like literally like 4 or 5 big old pictures of David Hasselhoff, like from his early parts of his career, from like there's some of him shirtless and this and all other crap. Then you go up to the receptionist, which is Stan's mom, I think, and you go through and you have all these different options, and then all of a sudden you have the last option where it's like you can actually purchase to look like David Hasselhoff. And so I looked at that, it's like, you know what? You only live once. And so I freaking purchased the thing, and the rest of my gameplay playthrough, I looked exactly like David Hasselhoff, and it was the most amazing thing ever. Because it's like the specific moments and stuff where it's like, this is kind of funny. Some of the game kind of glitches a bit when you're like waking up in your bed, and so like sometimes the eyes will like pop over his face and stuff and just start opening up. But no, the reactions you would get around town, especially from your own parents, was just hilarious. Like, literally, like, you wake up in your room, you go downstairs, and all of a sudden, your mother character is like, oh, David Hasselhoff, you can have this body, whatever you like. It's like, what the... oh my gosh. But, going towards the last part of that game, I did every single side quest. I collected most of the gym Pokemon. I missed one gym Pokemon, and it was the most infuriating thing ever. I missed Shu.
Oh no!
One. It was the one before facing off against Chef, reincarnated.
God, damn
and
it.
I absolutely, after I realized what I had done, and this is after I had beaten the game, just literally a minute after, it's like, I forgot to get one Gym Pokemon in order to do that thing. I'm like, fuck. I have not been frustrated in not collecting one single piece in such a long time. But it's not that bad, honestly, because I will play through that game again. But what was funny, going through the later part of that game and stuff, you finally have the government agent guy that gets the stick of truth and stuff like that, and they all tell him what the stick of truth does, and like, instead of like being a logical adult, he just tears off all his clothes, he's all fucking naked, you see his like his hairy fucking like sack sway, dude. It's like, hey, now I control the universe, I don't have to listen to the government. Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden the end thing, like with the whole thing with Princess Kenny. Oh,
yeah, Morgan Freeman shows up.
Oh god.
Every time I explain an overcomplicated plot, I gain a freckle.
You see a freckle just magically appear in his face. But the final battle of the game, it's like, oh god. Nazi zombie Princess Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
And what's kind of funny is I was using a weapon setup to where I was using, oh gosh, I'm not too sure if I was using the tampon weapons or I was using something like that where it's like you can hit 6 to 8 like random enemies or something like that, do some bit of flames, do this and that, because obviously I did like a mage or something like that for my character.
Okay.
And I was doing the abilities to where I was literally doing like the fireworks sort of damage or something like that where they start like in compound things with bleeding. I must admit, throughout my entire playthrough, the only boss that gave me the most trouble was Al Gore. And that was his first form. And that was not Man Bear Pig. That was actually Al Gore himself.
Yep.
Because Man Bear Pig is like a fucking pushover. But I gotta admit, man, that side mission was very annoying. Because it's like, when you get all those sensors like set up and everything else, Al Gore just spams your little feed inside your game like every minute.
Yeah, he's great.
And so I literally went through a couple of hours of him doing that while I was like, I just basically forgot about him as like a side quest and started doing random things. I just kept seeing random messages from Al Gore, and periodically I would check them. It's like, hey, are you actually searching for Man Bear Pig? Are you doing this? It's like, oh my gosh, some bits of the randomness of like just the whole Facebook feed, and it's kind of funny. I see a lot of like the stuff from the characters, what they would post on their little feeds and this and that, and some of it is just absolutely hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. Like I think one such example is stuff you add when you add the the Christmas poo like kids and stuff like that and their wife and like the Mr. Hanky's wife like just straight up just asks like, hey, if you got any pills, like send them my way. You know, it's like, oh god.
he was born with a peanut in his head.
Oh my god, speaking of that, like in the sewer or something like that, when you're trying to save like all the kids and stuff like that, and you see the two hobos and stuff with one of the little pieces of poo or something like that, and it just says shit show on it. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, the rats are for even my peanut.
That game was just brilliant beginning and the end.
It really is. It honestly is one of my favorite games I think I've played on the PS4. It is just amazing. Oh my gosh. And the funniest part about it is, like, I went through every single side quest. I've watched this game being played all the way through once. And still, it's like, there are moments inside that game where it's like, holy crap, I forgot about this moment. It's like, well, that was pretty awesome. And I'll tell you, one of the more awesome moments is like when you're going through Mr. Slave and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you just discover Mr. Hat. You discover Mr. Hat, and all of a sudden as soon as you discover him, he just adds you as a friend randomly.
Yeah. I miss Mr. Hat. Mr. Twig.
Oh my god. Okay. Now to recover a little bit from that. I went through and I did purchase a couple of games this week because there was like another big old flash sale things during that weekend too. So I got a $50 PSN card and I purchased both South Park: The Fractured But Whole, along with its season pass, and I also got A Hat in Time. I've heard good things about A Hat in Time. I wanted to try it, see how it is. Also, during this week, I decided to disconnect the N64 that I had. I decided to plug in my PS2, and I am doing another playthrough of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
I gotta admit, it doesn't matter how many times I do play the game. There's always something different that I end up doing that makes it completely, like, just random. Like, I discover how to do something out of sequence or something that I would generally do, and it just kind of throws me for a loop a bit. It's like, okay, where's this ability now? Where's this now? It's like all the familiarity stuff of me constantly checking the map and stuff. But let's see, I'm around 2 hours in. I've almost finished the first castle. Because inside that game, you got to accomplish specific things. You got to collect 3 specific items, face off against the boss, like the final portion of that castle. Then that unlocks the reverse castle, which is like completely above it. So you got to go through the entire game again, pretty much, but in upside down. I love that. That game's over 20 years old though, but it has fantastic music, fantastic gameplay. It has multiple different types of strategies with different weapons. In a sense, it's sort of like how current games today is sort of similar to that style, like, say, a Hollow Knight or I want to say, gosh, not Super Metroid, because Super Metroid was before Symphony of the Night. But just a lot of those style of games, the whole Metroidvania style of games. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of the influences of those games. You know, just owe a lot of credit to, like, games like Super Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Just a lot of good stuff, I'm just remembering. But, let's see. Oh, boy. By using the converter for the PS2, I haven't really come across anything, like, really major. On some occasions, though, I do see some portions of the game kind of get a little bit dark for, like, a half second. I don't know what the hell that is all about, but, there hasn't been really any issues of lag or any issues of, say, like the graphics getting messed up or something. Things are looking pretty crisp. So I'm probably going to have to try out another game from my PS2 collection to see how my converter kind of handles that. Because right now I'm in the process of, I'm trying different consoles out on this converter and seeing how it is. Like, I tried my N64, played through WCW NWA Revenge. Went through, I plugged in my NES. The NES was kind of weird. Because even when I would try to play certain cartridges or something like that, there would just be this bar, like right in the middle of the screen. This would keep on appearing on the television screen or something like that, even when I would play little bits of, say, ice hockey, or maybe even Castlevania. So, in order to try to combat this, I'm going to try to clean out some of my NES carts with, say, some Q-tips and some rubbing alcohol, see if that helps. If not, it could potentially be something inside my NES that's doing that. Or it could be just specifically something to where it just needs to automatically work on a CRT TV. I'm not sure. But I'll definitely give a little bit of update on that. Because if it is what I think it is, I may have to replace the 72-pin connector in the NES itself. Which is kind of funny, because a little known fact about the Nintendo that I own currently, I bought it used at a Goodwill. Actually, the old one I used to work for. And inside of the flap, it has a little stamp on it that says NOA. Now, what that means is this thing was refurbished by Nintendo of America at one time. So, in essence, this thing could potentially, the pin connector thing could be going out. So it's not that inexpensive to get like a specific screwdriver to undo some of the hinges and stuff, and then like just replace the little pin stuff. It's actually pretty inexpensive than how it used to be. Now, as far as any other type of game stuff, have tried a little bit of Pocket Rumble. Pocket Rumble released a couple days ago, kind of like a stealth announcement, really. I mean, this is kind of like out of nowhere, where that was all of a sudden released. No type of announcement, no type of things whatsoever. Game we've been waiting on now since like the launch of the Switch. Along with a couple other game announcements that have most recently been popping up for the Nintendo Switch. That's now been confirmed. But inside of Pocket Rumble, the game is supposed to be modeled sort of like how classic SNK fighters are. And what I mean by that is you don't basically button mash and get to a lot of different places. You are left trying to strategize how you can get past certain patterns of fighters, how you can pretty much block when you need to block. The thing I've encountered kind of difficult so far, now bear in mind I've only played a little bit of the training mode, and I've also barely know a little bit of how to do specific combos with some fighters. The gameplay in and of itself is very simplistic. However, I am still trying to, I'm starting to find it sort of difficult for some characters to try to perform some little bits of basic combos. In older SNK fighters, the difficulty factor kind of spiked up in regards to, like, how far you would get to an arcade, how you would progress through the arcade mode. So I'm kind of wondering if that shares sort of the same similarities. The game, the way it looks currently, it is very reminiscent to a Neo Geo Pocket Color game. I say that is because they use specific type of color palettes that would be more assimilated to that handheld. When I used to own a Neo Geo Pocket Color, I would play little bits of like the Sonic the Hedgehog game that was on there, and you could change different bits of the colors, you could change a little bit of the language stuff. It was free range. In this game, it very much looks similar, and quite honestly, it looks very appeasing, even in dock mode. I haven't tried it in handheld mode yet, but the game runs fluid, the game looks crisp, and it definitely has the sound chip set of a retro game, which is actually pretty awesome. It's definitely nails the aesthetic of a retro game from 20 years ago, honestly. But other than that, I will have to chime in a little bit more next week, as I'll have a little bit more of an impression on Pocket Rumble. So that's pretty much it for what I've been playing.
Alright, cool, man. So I haven't played a whole lot of new stuff this week. I've been chugging along through Hyrule Warriors some more. And I've been here and there. I've been kind of like doing like a level or so every few days, like the last month or so. But this week I've been playing a lot more. Still enjoying that. You know, I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. But I mentioned it last week. There's a game that came out. I think it came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker.
Okay.
The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker. So it's the company that made it, Wales Interactive. They're based out of the country Wales. You guys maybe have heard me talk about it in the past, or you maybe heard their games before. They've had like a bunch of like they've done like a lot of ports. They've done a lot of other games that have come to middling to bad reviews, but the games they've been really popular for are FMV games, full motion video live action games. So they've been coming out with one a year since 2016. So this is the third one. In 2016, they had a game called The Bunker that I like quite a bit. It's about like this kid or this adult that grew up in this bunker during basically a giant nuclear war, and it's him. He's like the only survivor left now, and he is trying to piece together what happened because he's been there since he's been there since he was a baby, and he's trying to piece together, and you're learning the stories of it. And it's really a really good game. And then they had a game last year called The Late Shift that I liked quite a bit. And in these games, in The Bunker, it was a little more Telltale like, where you did some controlling and you clicked on things and you can like read a lot of things, and there's some options you can choose from. Late Shift was entirely like a movie, and you just made decisions. You didn't control anything as far as like moving with things with the analog stick. It was all options of like do this or that, or you can do this or not do that. In this game, I like both those games quite a bit. They're really, really, really good games. I enjoyed them, and they're both of them were only a couple hours. And this one is a kind of a pretty big departure from those two, where it is so it's a murder mystery. You basically you are the new psychiatrist. Dr. Dekker was a psychiatrist, and he had a bunch of patients, and he was murdered on like Valentine's Day night, on like the night of Valentine's Day, and now he's taking over. But also the police have asked him to help try to find the murderer, and you're interviewing slash meeting, like you're taking over all of his old patients, and you're learning about them and helping them with their problems, and also trying to piece together what they were doing on that night, or their kind of relationship with Dr. Dekker and all that. And you can like a lot of dialogue choices you can do. I played it for a few hours, and I kind of like, how fucking long is this game? Because the other ones, like The Bunker was 2 or 3 hours. Late Shift was, I think, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, about the length of a movie. Right. And this one, I'm about 3 hours in. So I looked it up. I didn't look up spoilers, but I just went like, how long is this game? And it's like 8 to 12 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's
and I'm just
quite a bit for a murder mystery.
Big, and it's like, so my problem with the game. I mean, I don't know. It's barely a game, but I'm playing on a video game console, so I'm counting it. But I really like those ones, and the characters are interesting, but there's so much like side stuff that doesn't, like, I can't tell what matters or not, and like, so a lot of it is you're trying to like, okay, so like one of the girls, she's like, I like to go to nightclubs because they like this nightclub because they have cheap shots, and she's like, I love dancing, and I keep blacking out, and I can't figure out what's causing these blackouts, and that's why she's talking to she's going to a psychiatrist to help with these. And then you ask her, well, is it because of the alcohol? She's like, well, I don't drink. I'm like,
what?
Yeah. So, and then like, okay, so she doesn't drink, but she likes to go to this nightclub because they have cheap shots. And so I'm like, I want to investigate more of this. And then you look at your dialogue options, and they're not there. There's like no options to like continue on with this. And it's really not like you can ask this question or ask this question. It's, here's like all these questions you can ask, and you're just picking from a menu the questions to ask, and they happen no matter what. You can choose whether or not to ask these questions or not. What you do doesn't change. Like as far as like later on, I kind of looked it up. I gave up on this game because I was just frustrated. I feel like I'm just clicking buttons and listening to the responses. I wasn't making any decisions in this. It was literally just an interview. Is what I'm doing here,
okay,
and I'm looking.
So pretty much it was kind of like. I'm getting the sense where it's kind of convoluted in a way, where it kind of presents these different options, which would kind of make you feel like you are kind of just not just deciding though, but kind of like say going in a specific direction or something that the game maker wants you to feel like you actually have a choice in what you're doing and stuff. But instead, it's more or less different types of options, but the same type of result.
Yeah. So there's not even options. It's just like you just ask these questions. And you don't have to ask these questions, but these no matter what questions you ask, these options are going to be there. Like here's 20 questions you can ask, and you can ask them in any order you want. You can just skip asking these questions, but it's not like, hey, I asked this question, so therefore I got this question, or I picked to ask this question instead of this question, so I got this question. It's just like no matter what you do, you just get the results are the same. But I guess at the end of the game, you have to try to figure out who's the murderer of these patients. Huh. And based off the information they give you, you're supposed to pick the murderer or decide who the murderer is. So that's what it all leads to. So like nothing, like everything is essentially the same up until the very end, I guess. And I gotta sneeze 1 second. I lost it. It's gone. I'm sorry. It's gone. I lost the sneeze. It's still there tingling, but I don't have to sneeze now. Yeah, it's just it feels like this game doesn't like I heard. So if you want to like fly through it, you can, I guess. But like it's like you basically to fly through it, you just don't like ask any questions because you can go on. So like it takes place during like over days, so you can like. So what I was doing, I was asking every question. I made it to like day 4, and I'm just like, how many fucking days are there? And I was asking every single. I went over every question that I can ask, and after a certain point, it's like, all right, go. You're done for the day. Go to the next day, or you can just like skip to the next day without asking a single question. So you can go through this game and get as little to no detail to every single piece of detail you want. So it's like that's kind of a weird way to play this game, especially when this is how the game is. This is what the game is. This isn't like here's the main story and here's side quests. It's like this is the game. It's just you interview these people and you make a decision based off the information they give you.
That is very weird. It's like you could pretty much breeze through the entire game, not ask a single question, and yet you could probably get the same result as in asking every single question and then just doing that.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Yeah, so I thought like I didn't dislike the characters or the story. I didn't dislike any of that. It's a murder mystery. You're obviously kind of interested in like intrigued to a certain extent automatically, but just the journey to get in there and all that. Like if this was like a tight 2-3 hour thing and it was a little faster paced and I felt like I was actually like making decisions and more involved in the process of this, I think I would have liked it a lot because I really really enjoyed those other 2 games, the Bunker and Late Shift. But yeah, this one was just like this was like the first huge swing and miss to me for the Wales Interactive as far as these FMV games go. So they are, I guess they just got done filming the next one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's another murder mystery game. I don't know much. There's no real details on it yet, but I'm hoping this one's much better because this was a huge bummer. Because they usually come out. I mean, this is only the 3rd year of it, but they've all come out in like late spring, sometime in the summer, early summer. So I always look forward to them, like because they usually get announced within a few weeks. Like they usually get a release date. They get announced well in advance, but like as far as like, the trailer usually comes out within like a month of it actually releasing. So usually when you see those, I'm usually like, oh sweet, okay, I can't wait to play this. And yeah, this was a big bummer. But it's on. If you like those games, I would definitely check out Late Shift and The Bunker. Those are 2 really good games. They're on everything now. They just came to the Switch, I think last month. But they're on PC, PS4, Xbox One, all that too. The other thing I played, and I played this more of as like a deterrent to like prevent me from buying this game, is Octopath Traveler.
Okay.
I played the demo for it. The game comes out on Friday. It's from the Bravely Default guys, which if people have listened to the show for a long time, know my history with Bravely Default. I played the game for like 60 hours, and I got to like chapter 3 or 4, and there's like 17 chapters.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And I really liked that game, but it's just like I'm never gonna like this game's gonna take me like 600 hours. There's like so much grinding and all that stuff. But like the visuals look fantastic. I thought the story was interesting. The combat's really great. And it seems like it's not a different combat system now, but it's turn-based, like Final Fantasy-esque. The art style in this game and Octopath Traveler is absolutely gorgeous. So I ended up like watching a couple trailers on it that like just came on like YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'll check this out. And I'm like, I started getting the urge to buy the game, and I was like, I know I'm not gonna like, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna buy this game. I'm probably gonna play it for like 10-15 hours, and I'm just gonna kind of peter out on it.
Right.
Because just like JRPGs, like growing up, favorite franchise, like that was my favorite type of genre of games. Like if JRPG didn't matter what the hell it was, I'm gonna play it, and I'm probably gonna beat it. I fucking love those games. Now, once adult Tyler doesn't like those games anymore. Wish I did, but I don't. So luckily they had this demo for it out, and you could play it for 3 hours, and it's actually like the beginning of the game. Yeah. And you could pick any of the 8 of the characters, and you could play all 8 of them, or you can go. There's like a certain like a cutoff point to all of them of all 8 stories.
Right.
But yeah, you can play this game, and whatever you do in this will transfer over to the main game. So it's kind of cool. So you can you don't have to replay the beginning portion twice. So I picked one of the characters. He's more the warrior character in the game. I played it for the first hour, and I it's just okay, yeah. I realize, yeah, I'm not knocking this game at all. I'm sure it's fantastic. The reviews that have come out for it are saying it's fantastic. It's just not my type of game. I played this more out of prevent myself from wasting $60 on this game, type of thing. Where it's I played it for an hour, a lot of talking that I don't care about. I had 3 fights in the game, and they're all tutorial battles. Just I just want to play the goddamn game. But it looks fantastic. The voice acting is cheesy as fuck, which you expect from a JRPG.
Right.
The story is corny as hell. It's a stereotypical JRPG story, which I'm not knocking. I used to love those. But just for me, not like I said, not my type of game. I wish I loved it because this game, like I said, looks fantastic. If 2004 or 5 Tyler would be jizzing in his pants over this game. Unfortunately, 2018 Tyler just doesn't care about these games anymore, which is a bummer. But yeah, so I don't want to sit there and review it, say it's bad or good or whatever. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but yeah, I wish I loved it, but I don't. The prospect of an 80 to 100 hour game, to me, 29-year-old Tyler, is terrifying. It's I hear about a game that takes 20 to 30 hours. I'm like, oh fuck, really? That's are you serious? And teenage Tyler, if I heard a game was only 20 hours, I'm like, well, fuck that game. That's too short. God, I miss
I
being
love
a
that
teenager.
reaction. It's the older we get, it's the more we look at a long scale game or something like that. It's oh god, this is kind of daunting. Am I really going to spend 100 hours playing this?
Yeah. It's I hear about a game that's $60 and 8 to 10 hours long. Fucking awesome. You hear about a game that's $60 and 80 to 100 hours? Fuck that. So.
Oh,
kind
man.
of crazy.
I remember one time I used to think like that too, where it's the more hours I would spend playing the game, I kind of felt as a kid, it's oh, I'm getting my money's worth, It's now it's I look at games, I hardly look at certain reviews, I hardly even care how long the game is. I go through and I try to play whatever I like, and it's yeah, there's some times I just like playing a shorter game only because the fact that hey, I can get the whole experience in a good chunk, maybe a couple of sittings here and there, and then it's sort of similar to that of the Stick and Truth, where it's it took me a week or so to go through the game. I spent maybe a good solid 15 hours or so just playing that, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed every minute of it. So it's
Yeah.
It's to each their own when it comes to their game time preferences and stuff. I mean, hell, one of the things that's keeping me from playing through and finishing a game like say Persona 5 is that game is I kid you not, it is a 100-hour game. It's
Yeah.
especially for a first time going through any kind of a Persona game. And fans of the series will tell you that otherwise. It's if you're playing through the game the first time and you don't know what you're doing, you could spend upwards to about a 70 to 100 hours inside of a specific Persona game.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. And that's I mean, we're into a conversation here, but I'm fine with it. But that's what sucks about where gaming goes today, where it's the gaming service stuff, where it's a lot of open world stuff. We're talking tons of things to do in it with endless thing. It's just Division and Destiny. I like those games, but the always online aspect. They're 20 to 30 hours long just for doing the main stuff.
yeah.
It's just I mean, it's I would when I picked up Destiny 2 when it first came out, and all my friends beat it the week it came out.
Yep.
And it's it took me 3 weeks to beat that game, just the main campaign, and doing barely any of the sides. I did the main side quests, but I didn't do any of the real side quests, the small shit. It was the bigger side quests I did, but yeah, it's just like I said, teenage Tyler, in high school and stuff like that. This is that sounds fucking awesome. It's now it's just it's I like playing Fortnite because I can play a few games and like 20. I got a half an hour to kill.
Yep.
I'll play for. That's how I am now. I live my life much like Vin Diesel lives his life at a quarter mile at a time. I live my life 45 minutes at a time. It's like I plan 45 minutes in advance. I don't like doing like I got 45 minutes to kill. I'll play a couple games of Fortnite. It's like I got 45 minutes to kill. I'm not gonna play Division because again, like I'm not gonna get anything accomplished in that time. So I've kind of fallen off Division. I really like the game for like a week and a half, and it's just like I was like, oh man, it's too much of a time commitment, you know. And certain games, you know, God of War sucked me in for like a week and a half, and I put like 30 hours in that game, and I couldn't quit playing it. That happens every now and again, but for the most part, like there's only like 1 or 2 games a year that can do that to me. The rest of them, like, it doesn't do that to me. But let's move on to some of the topics we have this week. Not really a lot of topics, actually. There's like a couple small ones, and then there's one mediocre one, and then we're gonna kind of make this like so it's July now. We release technically our second show of July, but our first show recording in July, because the other show we recorded on like June 30th. But we're gonna do this is gonna be like our mid-year review / looking forward to the rest of the year kind of thing. But we'll get to those in a little bit. We're gonna go through the news real quick. Like I said, not a lot. First up, Games Done Quick was going on this week. The last streams they do happens every June. I think is it June or is it July? First week of July.
Yeah, it's sort of like the last week of June, first week of July. Basically,
Okay.
they just finished up their summer games done quick and stuff, and well, they actually went forth and raised over 2-point-something million.
$2.12 million for
Yep.
Doctors Without Borders. So yeah, people don't know what it is. It's a pretty cool event that goes on where people speed run through games, and people that watch and get to pick like how they play through the game. So it's really cool. Like if you guys go on YouTube, you can check out. Usually a lot of them get posted on YouTube. Like IGN does a really good job of posting the speed runs on there, and like anytime someone breaks a record, it pops up everywhere if you watch enough video game stuff on YouTube. But yeah, I know a few records got broken. You were talking about someone beat. Was it? There was one of the Castlevania games got beat in less than an hour. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. Off the top of my head and stuff, I gotta really just double check just to make sure and stuff like that. But I have been making a priority this week and actually going through and watching some of these playthroughs. There's some are like glitchless runs. There's some that actually have like glitches, but like there was one speed run that I watched which was absolutely kind of hilarious and stuff, and it's for a infamous game that we all know, being Superman 64.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows how terrible the N64 game Superman 64 is in a nutshell. Well, I was watching a speed run of the game and stuff, and the person who did it actually managed to beat the game like within a span of, I want to say like about an hour or something like that. And basically what she did was she went through the main portion of the game, but there's like a specific thing that you do to actually kind of back out in the save menu, because she basically skipped the whole entire thing of having to do all those rings and stuff like that by setting the game on really easy, and then all of a sudden getting to a certain extent, actually using something to get herself out of the main game and actually increase the difficulty to like the hardest difficulty setting, because it triggered like specific like geometry things inside the game itself. It was so technical the way that yeah, it was very technical in the way how she did the thing, to where she could literally bypass like entire portions of levels that would take a casual playthrough of the game like maybe 20-30 minutes or something just in order to get through, and she barely did it like within a couple minutes. But the thing is, when she was doing some of these tricks, she had to literally go through kind of like black screens with Superman's avatar, to the extent where she had to literally know little bits and portions of where she had to fly through in order to get like specific rooms. It was just really crazy how that thing went. Let's see, Superman 64 speedrun world record. I'm trying to think. I'm actually checking it right now. So let's see for the speed run. Oh yes, Yes. This one was by the person actually I was watching here, Headstrong 1290, just got a world record in Superman 64 speed run. I'm going to go ahead, and when was this one from? Actually, this is from like January 10th of 2018, so it's not the more recent one. But yeah, there are some that actually literally have done it in a span of like say an hour, like this and that and stuff. But the whole point of this whole like speedrun things is like what Tyler was just saying, just to raise money towards like cancer, this and that and stuff. Not only was there like specific like glitchless runs for very popular games like say Splatterhouse 2, there was actually somebody that had did an entire playthrough of Final Fantasy 6 and actually managed to like a glitchless run, finished it in under 8 hours, which that's really fucking impressive. Then there's like the different type of speed runs, actually racing between like people racing each other how they could finish the game faster or something like that. So the one that I watched and I was really impressed by was the one by Super Mario Bros. 3, where these two guys, these two like famous speedrunners for Mario 3 were competing against each other. 17 minutes in, and all of a sudden it's like they were neck to neck, and one of the guys' screen froze. Literally froze, and he had to restart from World 1. Now, at that point and stuff, any person probably at that point is like, oh, hey, well, he's screwed, he's just going to go through, the other guy's going to finish way before him. No, the biggest sign of sportsmanship I've ever seen, it's like the other dude is like, he just flat out refused to move anywhere until he caught back up to the point.
That's cool.
And you know what's even more interesting in that is like, it didn't happen once. It happened again at the worst possible moment on the very last level. And it happened after like the one dude that let him go through all that stuff to catch up. He was doing a jump at one of the higher platforms inside the last Bowser castle, and he missed and he fell all the way and he died. And the dude beside him that that caught back up and stuff, he had the Hammer Brothers suit, he was gonna go all the way and stuff, and his screen froze again, and he had to restart from the fucking first level of Mario 3. And that's NES hardware they were using. So at any point, that could potentially happen. But the other dude won, of course, though, but the guy that did end up losing that speedrun, though, he used one of the more famous glitches inside of Super Mario Bros. 3 in order to finish the game to get to the end screen. So basically what you do is you have to warp to level 7. You go through inside 7-1, and there's a particular trick that you do where you have to have the turtle shell, you have to step on the turtle shell, the red turtle shell, and as soon as it starts to wake up, you got to go down one of the pipes and stuff, and then all of a sudden you have to kick it specifically, and you have to go off because the gimmick for 7-1 is you can go from left to right, and it basically sort of circles around. You know what I'm talking about, right, Tyler?
Yeah.
Where it's like you go from the left of the stage, you appear to the right of the stage. So basically there's a glitch where once you do a specific conditions, you can actually go from the left side of the stage to the right of the stage, and if you press down at exactly the right moment, you go down a hidden warp point, like a hidden glitched pipe, and it warps you through that stage all the way to the end screen for Super Mario Bros. 3. For where Peach is being kidnapped and stuff like that,
Yeah.
This and that. So I gotta admit, watching through a lot of these speed runs not only impressed the hell out of me, but man, it's different ways to play old games and new games alike, because there were more than just retro games being played. There were also games that were released as as recent as this year. Somebody had an entire speed through of speed run through Cuphead and beat that within a fucking hour, or go through Celeste and go through under that for an hour and stuff. So I recommend any of you listening, if you really love to see games beaten, just basically destroyed and using all these glitches and this and that, or just doing these pure runs where you have to have a specific amount of conditions, I highly recommend going onto YouTube, checking out the Games Done Quick channel, go through some of the more famous or the more recent ones, and just witness it for yourself, because it is amazing. So with that said and done, it's like, I'm just kind of like waiting for the end of this year, really, because another one kind of pops up, I believe, in January of like 2019, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right, yeah. So that's a cool thing going on. So check those out. Like I said, they're all over YouTube. Just look it up. Summer Games Done Quick. There's been some cool videos out there for that, and it's for a good cause. So yeah. But moving on to another topic. Like I said, this small one, not a whole lot to say on it, but I think it's worth talking about. So Amazon has once again changed their policy on discounts for games. Used to be, when they announced it, like, yeah, Amazon Prime, you get 20% off all games. Then it's like, well, now you only get 20% off of games if you bought them if you buy them within 2 weeks. Then it was you only get 20% off games if you pre-order them. Now they changed their policy once again, where you only get 20% off. So you can no longer get 20% off games that are remakes or ports. So, for example, something like Luigi's Mansion 3DS. You couldn't get a discount on that. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, the discount's gone on those. So games that are remakes or ports, those discounts are gone. I think if you've already pre-ordered a game before this went away, and they went away with no notice, it was just kind of like that, they're gone. And then they came out later on and revealed that they did that. But if you already pre-ordered a game, your grandfather in, you still have that discount. But if you have not pre-ordered a game that is a remake or port, it's gone. Kind of shitty thing. I think a lot of people bought this. I mean, I had one of the main reasons I got Amazon Prime was for something like this, and then I got the Best Buy Gamer Club, and now that's going away in February for me. But I think Gamer Club's still better because you get 20% off everything you buy. No matter what, still, even like Amiibo. And that was one thing they took away after the fact too. Was no longer got. So they also took away like 20% off. You no longer get 20% off collector editions of anything. No longer get 20% off of there's one Amiibos or like any collector items like that too. Like all that shit's gone away. So they're slowly pulling back on that. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily Amazon's fault or if that's like the publishers pushing back on them. I'm not really quite sure, but it's definitely a huge bummer. I think, it's been a cool thing that's going on, and now it's like I used to just go to GameStop for most of my games before all this happened. And like, I'm gonna start ordering all my shit on Amazon and Best Buy. Now it's like after like February, I'm probably not gonna be like I'm gonna go back to GameStop again, which I don't have a problem with, but I just like, obviously who doesn't like. I mean, getting $12 off every game you buy, and then getting it on release date. Like I come home from work, I don't have to stop anywhere, I don't have to deal with any people, I don't have to talk to anybody, I don't have to get in any lines. I just come home from work, and my game's there. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, going away. I mean, not a lot to say on it. It's frustrating that they are not so slowly in the last year or so. Been pulling back on that quite a bit to the fact that now basically the only thing you get 20 discounts on is just pre-ordering new games, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's better than nothing. But still, it's a bummer. Anything you want to add to that, Gables?
Well, I gotta say though that I understand why they may want to try to pull back. At the same point, it's kind of oddly specific that they're just now is like limiting it to just new games that are not considered ports or remakes.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it's like, if you're going to make it so arbitrary like that, why not just go ahead and just take it off altogether? It's like a lot of the games that are coming out happen to be remakes or ports of something else.
Yeah.
Honestly. But, yeah, there's really not really too much that I can really say about that. I mean, I don't really use a lot of, like, the Amazon 20% off things in the past, but man, it definitely is a sucky thing, especially if you're using a lot of the 20% off stuff from Amazon just to specifically get just any type of like game that you wanted, pretty much. Just 20% off whatever, like say the ports or this or that, or yeah.
Yeah, and I'm leaning more towards it's more of the publisher side of things. It's developers and publishers side of
It
things.
sounds like it.
In the last few years, like for a long time, you couldn't buy like Nintendo products off theirs, like through Amazon. A few years ago, like consoles you couldn't buy or video games you couldn't buy. For like a long time, I think in like 2016 and part of 2017, you couldn't pre-order any EA games. You can buy them after the fact, or you can buy them digitally, but you can never pre-order the physical copies. And now, going on for almost a year now, you can't pre-order any first-party PlayStation games. You can buy them after the fact, or you can pre-order them digitally, but you don't get the discount on digital games. It's only on physical copies. So it sounds like to me, it's like this is their way of getting out of that, where it's like they took away the. It's like one of the things they tried to make was like, hey, we'll only give you discounts if you pre-order the game, and that wasn't good enough for the publishers out there. So it's like, okay, well, we're not going to give you the game until the game comes out now. So then you guys, no one can pre-order the game. You can only buy it once it's released, so you don't get the discount. So this seems like it's just, it's a thing that's pissing off a lot of developers out there and publishers. So this is them slowly pulling back, and eventually, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year, this whole 20% off thing is completely gone. And obviously, Gamer Club is gone from Best Buy. So, I mean, your grandfather in until your membership's up, but once it's over, it's over. But moving on to our last real topic of the show, our news topic, is Nintendo apparently has more games to announce for 2018. They said they are not completely done showing off what they have. So, former Nintendo president Tatsumi Kimishima. What? Yeah, I can't do it. If he was, like I said, New Japan Pro Wrestler, if he became one of those, I could announce his name then. Until then, I got nothing. But he announced during the recent Nintendo shareholder meeting that the company is indeed planning on announcing additional games for the Nintendo Switch later this year at the appropriate time. He was asked at about the Nintendo E3 presentation, and the following fact that it actually caused a decline in stock value after the show was done, after the direct was over. He assured that those in attendance that Nintendo is currently planning on disclosing additional information to customers at an appropriate time, including new titles that will be released near the end of the year for the holidays. This is something I said after during our Nintendo E3 podcast that we did, was I felt like there was at least one more direct this summer, or sometime. I wouldn't be surprised if it's this month, August, or early September, because we're gonna have at least one more direct talking about the online system, how that's gonna work.
Yep.
All we have right now is it's sometime in September it's launching, and it's $20 a year. And then we get 20 NES games, and we only know 10 of them, and they have a Netflix style thing. So that tells me there's got to be one more direct, and I wouldn't be surprised if we usually get 6 to 8 a year. Seems about right. From anywhere from big ones to small ones. So I wouldn't be surprised, if we get one for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one towards the end of the year, like in October. I wouldn't be surprised actually if we get one Pokemon dedicated one and maybe a Smash dedicated one. So we might have 2 or 3, but so that makes sense to me that there are going to be more. But I don't feel like they're going to be like huge. They're probably going to be more ports, or they're going to be like small, like indie title kind of things. I don't see anything like Yoshi's already been delayed to next year. Fire Emblem's already delayed to next year.
Yep.
Pokemon and Smash, anything really other than that comes out after the fact, after those, or anywhere in between that or close to that, Nintendo wise, doesn't get buried. So I don't see, unless something comes out in September, I don't see anything big happening, or causing any big effect. But what about you, Gables?
Well, you know what? I kind of feel like that even after the E3 press conference and stuff, they probably did have like a lot of other stuff that they wanted to talk about and stuff. But Nintendo being Nintendo and stuff, they wait for their own opportunity to showcase stuff. It was more than apparent, even with their Nintendo Direct stuff, even with the pushing back of things like, say, Yoshi and stuff, and Fire Emblem. So it would not surprise me if, say, like early September, we heard a little bit more of a Nintendo Direct coming, maybe showcasing, like you were just saying, upon the $20 a year online service that they're planning to do, maybe like some more games that they're planning to potentially release on the eShop or whatever from now until the end of the year, it would not surprise me in the least. So that's pretty much what I have to say.
I think when they talk about the games that are coming out near the end of the year and holidays, it's probably gonna be like, to me, best case scenario, like realistic best case scenario, is like GameCube games on the eShop kind of stuff.
That'd be nice.
I'm still holding out for a Super Mario Galaxy port, but I don't know if that's how realistic that is this year. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. I'll cross your fingers on that. But so now for the rest of the show, we're going to talk about kind of the best of so far and what we're most looking forward to for the rest of the year for 2018. So like I said, it's mid-year. We're a little past halfway point now of 2018. So I want to ask a question to you, Gables.
Yes.
What are the best game or best games so far for you this year?
The best game so far for me this year, honestly, from this point, I have played some of the games that have released this year, and among some of them, I know Dragon Ball FighterZ is definitely among one of my favorites this year so far.
Yeah.
Because not only did it incorporate the show really nicely and stuff, but it's also a fantastic game in its own right. And if you want to see really high competitive play of Dragon Ball FighterZ by people who know the ins and outs of it very well, I would highly recommend checking by YouTube, checking out some of the matches. They are extreme and they are fantastic. Now, for any other games and stuff, I really am impressed by, say, bits of Hollow Knight from what I've experienced. Let's see, there are other games that I've played to release this year. West of Loathing I did play for the Switch. I know those are the only things I can think of at the top of my head at the moment, because I have been playing plenty of retro games as well. So
yeah,
I know it's from now to the end of the year I am going to go through and probably process a lot more. But at this point in time, there's like 3 games that stand out. Dragon Ball FighterZ, Celeste definitely is one, Hollow Knight definitely is one. And that's about it so far.
Yeah, it's something I've talked about, throughout the year. It's been kind of a fairly weak, I think, beginning of the year, at least compared to the last few years. The last few years, like especially last year alone, was like,
right.
You could have made that, like, if you would have just took the first half of last year and made that a whole year, like stretched it over 12 months, that would have been a really good year for gaming. And
right.
then, I mean, that was just the first 6 months. Then the back half was just also fucking fantastic. And this year it's been kind of, we've had some really good stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like so far, I mentioned at the time, and it still holds true. God of War is still the best game of 2018, and nothing holds a candle to it at this point. I mean, there's been a few other really good games. Like I thought Detroit was a really good game. Detroit Become Human. Telltale's Batman: Enemy Within. The last episode 3, 4, and 5 came out this year, so it's technically a 2018 game, I guess. Was pretty good. Mario Tennis Aces has been pretty fun. But yeah, there hasn't been like a there isn't really. It's been God of War, just 20 steps above everything else.
Well, I will say like one game that I forgot about. Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. That was actually a pretty good game too. Honestly.
Yep. Yeah, and then we still got the actual Bloodstained game come out later this year.
Yep.
Yeah, these 2 games are eligible for Game of the Year, but if I was like gonna do like the best gaming experiences I've had this year, it's been number 2 and 3 have been Shadow of the Colossus and Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, technically the remastered stuff have released this
year.
Yeah.
Yep. They released this year, but they're just remakes of and ports of old games, so they wouldn't be eligible for Game of the Year list. But those games were, going back, we freaking talked about how great Burnout Paradise was.
Yeah.
That took over the podcast for like a good couple weeks there. And Shadow of Colossus was just utterly fantastic. So those have been the highlights, I think, for me this year. But next thing, what is our pile of shame for 2018? So games that came out this year that we've bought and haven't played or finished, or games that we want to play we haven't bought but we do want to play.
All right. I'm pretty much going to begin this one because I can think of a good solid 5 games off the top of my head right now. I know Celeste is one, Hollow Knight, West of Loathing. It's definitely one of those. Let's see. Owlboy is definitely one of the ones that I want to go back and finish. I've started a little bit of it, but I have not played nearly enough of it. God of War. Definitely God of War. I want to finish by the end of this year. Now, as far as, say, games that I have not bought yet, but I definitely want to play through, let's see. Off the top of my head, I have wanted to play a bit of Ni no Kuni 2. That game definitely does interest me because of the whole aspect of the gameplay style and how it's the sequel to a game that I did never finish though, the original Ni no Kuni on PS3. Let's see, another game that I wanted to try. Another game that I did want to try was Far Cry 5. But I have not really seen too many good sales on the game itself yet. It's definitely probably going to be towards the end of the year that I'm probably going to want to try it. Of course, Mario Tennis Aces. That's a game I really do want to pick up and just play from beginning to end because from what I've seen, it looks like a tennis RPG mixed in with a whole bunch of, say, fighting game sort of elements and stuff. And it definitely sounds really appeasing. I definitely just want to go through, play as Waluigi and stuff, just absolutely kick the shit out of everyone.
He is number 1.
Oh, let's see. I've went through 3 games, right? So it's I want to try Detroit Become Human, but only after maybe it goes through a bit of a sale.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't see myself spending $60 just to buy the game currently. I basically want to wait until the game goes on sale, possibly towards the fall or maybe close to Black Friday, It's just one of those type of games that I really want to do that for. And another game that I really am kind of intrigued by, but I have not wanted to pull the trigger yet because the price isn't really as attractive, is Vampire, I think it's called.
Yep.
Vampire. I have heard good things about the game, but I've heard the combat's sort of wonky, and I heard that they've gone through with a recent patch that fixed a lot of those issues. But the concept of the game sounds interesting, and a lot of the different things I've heard about it, I definitely want to try to experience at some point. It was a game that released for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One around June 5th. It was early June release, and it definitely is a game I want to try to experience at some point. Oh boy, let's see, what was there? I know there was another game that was released this year that I want to try out. I mean, Sonic Mania Plus, that's definitely something I'm going to try sooner or later. Spider-Man. I almost forgot about Spider-Man, honestly.
Well, that's not a pile of shame that it comes out later this year.
Yeah, it comes out later this year, though, but that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's pretty much my pile of shame thing that I have at the moment.
I swear, you saw my list or something, because, Vampire is one of the games that's, the top of my pile of shame list. It's a Don't Nod game, which is Life is Strange Guys, which I am on the verge of becoming a fanboy of anything they do at this point. Close to being a fanboy without actually being a fanboy. So, yeah, I want to pick it up. I'm kind of like with where you are with Detroit. I got enough other stuff I want to play right now that I don't have to, it's $60. If I see it for, if I see a Black Friday type of thing, that's be perfect. That's one of those things where every E3 is kind of also I look forward to it because that kind of decides what I'm gonna do for Extra Life every year.
Right.
I look at the releases for this year, and it's there's nothing coming out around Extra Life for me that I want to play, and that makes me really nervous. So, Vampire, I think is how you pronounce it, because you get that Y in there. It's super weird.
It is.
I don't know if it's Vampire or Vampire, but that's one of those games I might hold out till Extra Life on. But that's one I'm definitely looking forward to. Like I said earlier, Celeste and Hollow Knight, 2 games I definitely want to play from this year. And Owlboy, just like you, definitely want to check out. I've heard fantastic things about that. And one game I played for a little bit and haven't got it back to was Moss. It's a PSVR game.
Oh yeah.
It's where, you play as you help a little mouse find his lost uncle. I actually tried playing it this morning, and I spent 45 minutes trying to figure out how to hook up my PSVR headset, and I couldn't
Right.
figure it out, so I got frustrated and just didn't play it. So I don't understand it. I really don't with the fucking PSVR. I have everything set up ready to go. Like everything's plugged in. The only thing I do is I unhook the HDMI port from the back of the PSVR little box, and I plug it because if for some reason when you have your HDMI port plugged into the connector that connects the PSVR and the PlayStation 4, the HDR doesn't work, so I have to unplug it every time. But that's the only thing I unplug. But every time I go play it, there's always something that's not plugged in that's not working. And so it kept saying a USB port wasn't plugged in, which I checked every fucking one 20 times and I couldn't figure it out. So I got mad and I just quit playing it. All right, I quit attempting and I just went and played something else. I think I just played Hyrule Warriors again. So that's a gift. That's definitely a game I want to play more, but I'm just scared to play PSVR because I don't want to get sick. So yeah, those are the ones those are kind of the ones from that came out this year that I get to play or finish or I want to play some more of. But the last one is most anticipated games for the rest of 2018. So I have my list, but if you have yours ready to go, Gables, you can go.
Let's see. Why don't you go first?
Okay. So first up comes out this Friday, Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker. Obviously excited for that. That's a port. Madden 19, obviously. I even paid the extra $20 to get it 3 days early.
Oh yeah.
So that's me. Walking Dead final season, Telltale's game comes out. The first episode comes out August 14th. Definitely hyped for that. Get the finale of Clementine's story. It's probably not going to actually finish until the end of, or probably the beginning of next year, I imagine, or sometime next year. But I'm just happy to get that going. Spider-Man, obviously, looking forward to that. I don't want to hear anything more about it. I keep seeing articles about like leaks and rumors about like the story. I don't want to know. I just want to play the goddamn game at this point. Yeah. Tomb Raider. It's the finale of the trilogy for this version of the reboot. So definitely hyped for that one as well. That comes out December 14th. Life is Strange 2. Don't nod. The last few weeks you've heard me talking enough about Don't Nod and what they do, but like I said at the beginning of the show, I already bought and pre-ordered the whole season. Well, it's $40 this time, which is a little bit of a bummer because usually they're like $20-$25. I think like Life is Strange Before the Storm was like $15, but I bought the special edition one that was like $20. But this one's $40 this time, but I don't care. I'm more than happy to pay for it. 1111 Memories Retold. It is I doubt anybody on this that's listening to the show has heard this, or very many people have heard this game before, but it is the new game, the next game out of the Valiant Heart guys. A game that I loved from 2014. World War I game, made me cry like a baby multiple times. World War I game. This one is like I said, it's their new game. I can't remember the name of the company, but comes out November 9th. As soon as I can buy the game, I'm buying that. It's like takes place from World War One. Again, and it's got like a water painting type art style, and it looks.
Huh.
I mean, I'm pretty much. It's much like a Don't Nod. Valiant Heart was so great to me. I've been wanting something like that or from them since then, and pretty much whatever they do at this point, I'm fully on board until they just don't. They don't pan out. But Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, November 16th. Mildly looking forward to that one. I'm trying to be super optimistic. I think it's more optimism than anything than hype for that game. And then obviously the last one is Smash Bros. Ultimate. That comes out December 7th. So those are all my games for the rest of the year that I'm looking forward to. What about you, Gables?
All right. So to start things off, I am definitely looking forward to Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I mean, that's definitely a great game that I experienced like a year or two ago now on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely a fun experience. I want to pick that one up. The Mega Man X Collection 1, that's definitely got my attention because it's like basically the first couple of Mega Man X games. So it's like definitely something that I want to try to check out. And I kind of wish whoever's calling me right now would just stop and realize I'm recording. Anyway, other games I'm kind of looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Okami HD on Switch. I mean, hell, I like Okami. I love the art style, love the gameplay and stuff. What I am also sort of looking forward to, let's see. Well, there was the whole Valkyria Chronicles 4. That is going to be coming out not too, it's not going to be coming out not too far away from now. I definitely want to see how great that game is in comparison to, say, some of the earlier entries of the series. I played a little bit on the PS3, and I also played a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles 2 on the PSP back in the day. Let's see. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. That's definitely a game that I've been wanting to try to play for a long time, but have not been able to do so. And of course, I've already said Spider-Man, but yeah, this is actually appropriate for this time of the So it's like Spider-Man, and I'm in the same boat, is where I've heard a lot about it. I don't want to hear any more. I just want to play it when it initially comes out. So, let's see. There is this whole Disgaea 1 Complete. I'm a fan of the original Disgaea for when I used to play it, like, on the DS. But there's the game's coming out for both PS4 and for Switch, like October 9th, and I really want to try to play that game again because it's very fun. It can be very addictive. Let's see. Other than that, though, it's like I got mild interest in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and stuff. But honestly, the main game I'm looking forward to towards the end of the year is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I mean, I am a huge Smash Bros. Fan ever since the first game, so it's like when that finally does come out in December, I am all in. I'm on it. So that is pretty much what I'm looking forward to.
Yep. So it looks pretty good. Did you say Red Dead Redemption 2?
I didn't say Red Dead Redemption 2. I actually forgot about that, and you know what? I am looking forward to playing that as well.
Okay.
I must have missed that. That and Soul Calibur 6.
I am not looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Not a Rockstar guy, but okay. Also, before we head out, I do want to say a quick thank you to everybody for making June our most downloaded month ever for the podcast.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it helps that we recorded 12 podcasts in the month of June, but it seems like looks like we've had a lot of listeners stick around after we gained a lot of good chunk of listeners after E3 or during E3, and some of you guys have stuck around after the fact, and we really appreciate that you guys sticking with us. And tell a friend, please. So you guys make all this stuff worth it for us to do. I mean, we would do this. No. At least I would do this with no one listening. I just want to tell Gables about it. But no, we do have listeners, and we appreciate that you guys listening. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we do have the Facebook page and group, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Like and join us on there. Twitter at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there, please. Twitch.tv/Drunk Nerds Podcast. Follow us on there. Follow? Yeah, follow.
Yeah.
And send us friend requests on there as well. We like friends. Friends are good. On YouTube, Drunk Nerds. Subscribe to us. Podcast goes on there, up on there. So give us a big thumbs out. And whenever we do, thumbs up, sorry. And then and leave a comment, please. And then whenever we do like Twitch streams or anything like that, we always post them on there as well later on. So if you miss them live, you can always watch them on our YouTube channel. And also on iTunes, we are on there, Drunk Dashers Podcast. Give us a 5-star review, please. And leave us a nice little comment telling us why you like it. Because when you give us thumbs up on YouTube or 5-star reviews and leave comments and subscribe to us, that's how other people can see us. And it's the best way for us to get more views out there. Other than you guys telling friends about us, please. Just don't tell your parents that you're listening to us. They might disapprove. But yeah, I do want to thank you guys once again for listening. I was your host, I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next week, everyone, I hope you have yourself a fantastic week. Have yourself a lot of fun times playing the specific video games that you're addicted to this time. And more importantly of all, sit yourself down, relax, and enjoy a good episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables?
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, buddy.
Boys.
See ya.